Hello everybody, welcome to the Wonky angle where I talk about electronic music, both new and old, and today I'm doing a little different video from the usual here. I've obviously seen Fantano do these videos where he finds these March Madness brackets for artists that he likes. He's done one for Kanye West, Death Grips, and Kendrick Lamar as of this video. And I've thought it would be fun to do something like that. So that's what I did. I found an Aphex Twin March Madness bracket, and I decided I wanted to fill it out. Why the heck not? It would make for a fun video. Obviously, there will be opinions in this, and you do not need to take these too seriously. I did put in... there were some really difficult picks on this one that I needed to put in a fair bit of thought in, but maybe this might not reflect how I feel later. I have no idea. It's just all the same disclaimers that I leave on, like, the top 10 videos and all that. Just nothing too serious, just having a bit of fun. Okay, so we got the 4 quadrants here. We got the blue, the green, the yellow, the red. How about blue calcs, green calcs, yellow calcs, and red calcs, eh? So, let's, I'm gonna go counterclockwise, and, like Fantano did in his videos, so, let's start out with filling out blue calcs. Okay, so our first matchup here is blue calcs, of course, up against Aphex 237v7. Blue calcs, come on. Blue calcs is freaking awesome. Then we have Piano Un10 It Happened against Product 29, and I picked Product 29. Now, Product 29 isn't one of the huge favorites from Cyro, but the computer-controlled acoustic instruments EP for me was just really not that good, but whatever. Now, Piano Un10 It Happened is probably the best thing on the computer-controlled acoustic instruments, but it's still, whatever. I don't know, I guess... Oh, the next pick was evil. God, the Stone and Focus versus 4. Are you kidding me? Why? That's dude. Oh, that is not fair. God. But between the two, I went with Stone and Focus. It's a real shame. 4 is a great track from Richard D. James' album. I don't like seeing that one knocked out so quickly. But I do prefer Stone and Focus, personally, between the two, I guess. And then another pretty difficult one, Lichen versus Mount St. Michael's Mount. I went with Lichen. Just listen to it. That melody is just... Like, St. Michael's Mount is probably a more interesting track, but Lichen is... The melody wins over for this one. Moving on from there, we got Tree, and Xmas Eve at 10, or Xmas Eve 10. I think it's, maybe they missed a T. So, between these two, I went with Xmas Eve at 10. Because Tree, for me, it's not one of the better ones from Selected Ambient Works Volume 2. I mean, it's a good one, obviously, but it's a little among the more atonal ones. I prefer the more melody-focused stuff on that album a little, personally, and Xmas Eve at 10 just has so much going on in it, and it just flows really naturally, and I don't know. I picked Xmas Eve at 10. And then Beatles versus Logan Rockwitch. I had to go Logan Rockwitch. For those of you who don't remember either the Richard D. James review I did or my top 10 list, Logan Rockwitch made my actual top 10 list because that was the one because I listened Richard D. James' album Into the Ground for my review and yet never got sick of Logan Rockwich and got sick of all the other ones, even 4. So, Logan Rockwich has a special place in my heart, and Beatles is just not that interesting for me personally anyways. So, yeah, Logan Rockwich all the way. Then Helios Fan versus Come to Daddy Pappy Mix. Come to Daddy. That one could have stood better if it were going up against something other than Helios Fan. Like, Helios Fan is... yeah. It's freaking Helios Fan. So, yeah. And then finally, the last one in Blue Calcs is Marchrome T30A versus To Cure a Weakling Child from Richard D. James' album. Now, this is actually interesting because I actually had not heard Marchrome T30A before making this video. I listened to it and I thought, wow, I really like this one. It's like this really ghostly kind of thing. It's kind of one of the more laid back tracks. It's really creepy kind of thing, and I thought it was really great, honestly. And To Cure a Weakling Child, well, I don't know, maybe it's just the novelty of finding the new track that I didn't know previously, but To Cure a Weakling Child, that's a very good song, but not huge on my favorites from the Richard D. James album. Just, I don't know. I went to Chrome T30A. So, okay, finishing up the Blue Calcs bracket. I went Blue Calcs over Product 29. Blue Calcs is a classic. I went Stone and Focus over Lichen. Just, Stone and Focus is freaking great. I went Logan Rockwich over Xmas Yvette 10. Again, just that track is as weird and off the wall as Logan Rockwich is. That track does mean a lot to me personally. And Helios Fan over Marchrome T30A. Just gotta go with the old classic over the new track I just discovered. But whatever. And then after that, I picked Stone and Focus over Blue Calcs. That's a pretty close one. And Helios Fan over Logan Rockwich. And finally, to finish off the bracket, Helios Fan wins the Blue Calcs bracket. So, yeah. Moving on from there. Okay, so now we go down to the bottom left with the Green Calcs bracket. And we start off with Jinwei Thek versus Circlon 3 Mix. It's been a while. I have not listened to Cheetah, the Cheetah EP, since I made the video on it that pissed everyone off. Because Cheetah, as some people know, I was not happy with Cheetah because it was the first thing I'd ever heard from Aphex Twin that I found to be predictable. That was a major disappointment for me. So, and Jinwei Thek, I mean, that is a classic track right there. It's just the first track on Drux. Just, come on. It's not even close with that one. Anyway, Nanu 2 versus Rhubarb. Gotta go Rhubarb. I mean, Nanu 2 is a nice piano thing, but Rhubarb, that is probably my favorite track from Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, I think. So that's a longtime favorite of mine. And then we have Tha versus Grass. And I went with Tha. Just do always love me some 8592, and I think that one is a little... I don't think Grass is one of the huge standouts from Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, personally. And Tha is definitely one of the highlights from 8592, personally. But yeah. And this one was an interesting one. 54 Simru Beats versus Cheetah 7B. It's interesting because, well, I went 54 Simru Beats, of course. I think that track's more interesting. But Cheetah 7B was a little more interesting than I remembered when I re-listened to it. I mean, it does have a really good bass line at the beginning there. Then the bass line just kind of goes away and like, oh, come on. So yeah, 54 Slime Rubies. Not really one of my favorites from Drux either, personally, but that's a cool one. Alright, then we got Alberto Balsam versus IZUS. I see you missed out. Balsam. S-A-L... S-L-A... No, S-A-L-M. Yes, there was an L missing. And I went with that one, of course. Because IZUS, that track's good, but Alberto Balsam is one of the best tracks from I Care because you do, bar none. Like, come on. And then April 14th versus Fingerbib. April 14th, definitely. Fingerbib, that one can be a little grating sometimes, but it's cool. But April 14th, that is a classic there. All right, then this one's an interesting one. I versus Circle on 6A. I went with Circle on 6A because I is just kind of an interlude on 8592. And it doesn't leave a super strong impact, to me at least. And Circle on 6A is not one of my favorites from Cyro, personally, but that does have a lot more going on. It's a lot more interesting track, so there's just a lot more substance there, so I went Circle on 6A. And then the last one here, this was a tough one. Polynomial C versus AGS Plus. A-Guys Plus. I go with A-Guys Plus, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. That was a tough one because Polynomial C is one of my favorites from the Classics compilation. That's maybe behind Analog Bubble Bath, but that is a really good track, but I still went with A-Guys Plus at the end because I do just love 8592 very much. So to complete the Green Calcs bracket, Rhubarb wins over Jinwei Thek. Tha wins over 54 Simru Beats. Alberto Balsam wins over April 14th. That was a really close one, honestly. I don't know. Alberto Balsam was my first Aphex Twin track ever, so it just... yeah. And then, A-Guys Plus over Circle on 6A. Just 8592 all the way, man. And then after that, Rhubarb over Tha. And Alberto Balsam over A-Guys Plus. And finally, to win the entire bracket was Rhubarb. Because that, as I said, it's my favorite track from Selected Ambient Works Volume 2. By the way, there was no matchsticks on this brackets, which was a little bit disappointing because that's one of my favorites on here. There was a couple of tracks from this bracket that I wish were on here that weren't, but like there's no pwsteel.ld-pinch.d anywhere on here. I also noticed that there's nothing on here that isn't under the Aphex Twin name. Like, there's nothing from AFX or Polygon Window, no hangable auto bulb, or any of that. Like, but yet you still managed to fit 3 tracks on this bracket from computer-controlled acoustic instruments EP. I mean, I guess if you really liked that EP, cool, but I really do not see how that deserves space on this bracket over Polygon Window or AFX. Just saying. I mean, obviously I did not create this bracket, so whatever. So now let's go over to the Yellow Calcs bracket, which conveniently has Yellow Calcs in it, but Green Calcs is not in the Green Calcs bracket, which is whatever. So, right off the bat, we got a pretty tough one here, with Cowcut is a Twin versus Ixtal. Cowcut is a Twin is a track that I really think deserves so much better. I very rarely see love for Cowcut as a Twin on the level that I think it deserves. And Ixtal is the one track that, like, I did not include in my top 10 that everyone was most angry at my lack of inclusion. And for really the only reason that Ixtal is not on the list, on my top 10 list, was because I ran out of room. I didn't want there to be like 30 honorable mentions, even though I could easily go up to that many if I so wanted to. But Kauka is a Twin, if people remember, actually made the list because I don't know what to say. I just love the funky bass line. I just love everything about Kauka is a Twin, except for maybe the abrupt ending, but whatever. The point is, I picked Calcut as a Twin over Xtel, and some people are going to be pissed off by that. Whatever, it doesn't matter. After that, we got Schottky 7th Path versus the Wax and Pith. And that was a little easier. Schottky 7th Path, easily. Then from there, we get Nanu versus Mini Pop 67. Nanu, that's kind of a cute little music box thing, I guess. But Mini Pop 67 is one of the catchiest tracks from Cyro, so I went with Mini Pops 67 for that one. And then after that, we got Zygomatic 17 versus Ventolin. I can see this one being more difficult for someone else, but I do not like Ventolin at all, personally. The tinnitus ringing, no thank you. And Zygomatic 17 is still one of the best tracks on Drux. Like, it just is easily the most interesting track on Drux. It just has so much going on in it. It's so many weird and interesting moments on it. So, yeah, Zygomatic 17, no question for me. And then we got To Cure a Weakling Child, Contour Regard versus Coq Verten. There are two versions of To Cure a Weakling Child on this freaking bracket. What? Why did you only pick... At least it did, because I do think To Cure a Weakling Child is a good track, so I gave this one a second chance, and Contour Regard wins over Coq Verten. Coq Verten's not one of my huge personal favorites from Drux. And then On versus Tamphex. Tamphex is another track from the Classics album that I'm just like, I don't really like that one. I'm not huge on the darker, noisier, more atonal side of Aphex Twin personally. So I went with On. And that On is also a track that I've never actually talked about in any of my review videos, which is, because that is a really good track too. I've never mentioned, but I really like all the fluty melodies and the way it goes up against those really aggressive, hard-hitting beats. Is just that's a really good track that, like, if you haven't checked it out already, you should. So moving on from there, we got Yellow Calx versus Milkman. And that was pretty close too, but I went with Milkman. Just more memorable track, even though it's a bit of a joke. But yeah, Milkman, that's a fun one. And then the last one here, this was a tough one. I Said Santa versus We're the Music Makers. And I actually went with I Said Santa. I'm a sucker for a good piano track like that, and I Said Santa is just such a refreshing track to hear when Cyro is over, and I just really love that track personally. It was close, because We Are the Music Makers is a great track from 85-92 as well, but just I Said Santa edged over it a little bit more for me. So finishing off the Yellow Calx bracket, Calcut is a Twin wins over Schottky 7th Path. I'm sorry, I love Calcut is a Twin. I really do love that track that much. Yes. Mini Pop 67 over Zygomatic 17. Zygomatic 17, that is definitely a more interesting track than Mini Pop 67, but I picked Mini Pop 67 because I can remember the melody to that one better. And I could not hum you the like any of the melodies in Zygomatic 17 if I tried. That's a little bit of a problem. So, yeah. And then On wins over To Cure Weakling Child Contour Regard. That I slept on. That is a great track. And I Sat Santa also wins over Milkman. I mean, Milkman's basically a joke song to me. It's a catchy joke song, it's a fun joke song, but it's a joke song. I Sat Santa is just, it's good. I like I Sat Santa. And then after that, Cowcud wins over Mini Pop 67. On wins over I Sat Santa. That was a close one too. Just, and finally, the winner of the Yellow Calcs bracket was Cowcud. I don't care if people don't really... Why Cowcud does not get more love is beyond me. I just love the way that track sounds so much. It's definitely the track from I Care Because You Do I've listened to the most, by far. So yeah. So finally, that takes us over to the Red Calcs bracket. Okay. This one had a couple of really tough choices were in a row right here. Girl Boy versus Pancake Lizard. This one is... Because I like these tracks for basically very similar reasons. I do like the string... He uses the same string synth pattern on both tracks, but between the two, I kind of like Pancake Lizard a little more. Girl Boy's, again, more interesting, but I just like the melody and just overall sound of Pancake Lizard a little more. Just barely edged it out for me, personally. Maybe it would be different on a different day that I happen to be listening to Richard D. James' album a bit more, but it is what it is. Oh, this one was evil. God. Flim versus Bibbidi Giancord. This another two tracks that I like for basically the exact same reason. Just these is really low key tracks with these really great light melodies. That was a really tough one, and I almost went Bibbidi Giancord for this one because I listened to it more, probably because it's on Drux. And Flim is on Come to Daddy, which I don't put on nearly as frequently, but I still went Flim in the end. Just the bubblier sound of it is more uplifting. It puts me in a better mood, I think. I just went Flim. I'm not gonna think on these picks too hard, otherwise I'm gonna irritate myself. So next, Didgeridoo versus Acrid Avid Jam Shred. It definitely went Acrid Avid Jam Shred for that one. Like, I'm not really a fan of Didgeridoo, personally. Again, just the noisier stuff. It's not a very interesting track, in my opinion, as well. And then, this one was stupid. Like, oh god. Headphelium versus Snare 2 from Computer Controlled Acoustic Instruments CP. Snare 2 is 19 seconds long. Why is this on the freaking brackets? Oh, God. I mean, Headphelium is probably my least favorite track from 85-92, but against that competition, are you kidding me? Like, God. No. Headphelium wins. Alright. So, Moo Kid versus Donkey Rhubarb. This was a tough one. To Moo Kid, because I'm not huge on either one. Moo Kid, it's not one of the ones I dislike from I Care Because You Do, but it's not a huge standout either. So I went with Donkey Rhubarb. It's a bit more upbeat, more playful. That's a more fun track to listen to, I think. But yeah, that was a pretty close one. Just, I'm not huge on either one. And then we got Discat All Prepared One Mixed versus Window Licker. Computer-controlled acoustic instruments EP does not deserve this bracket. God, especially Window Licker. Why against Window Licker? That is a no-brainer. Window Licker. So next is Cliffs versus Come On You Slags. Yeah, again, I just had to go with Cliffs because I prefer the ambient and melodic stuff over the noisier stuff, and that's just my personal taste. And then finally, Cyro U473T8 plus E versus Start As You Mean to Go On. And I went with Cyro. Again, I just like I'm not a huge fan of Start As You Mean to Go On personally. It's a little hard on my ears, not the most fun for me to listen to. One of my least favorite tracks from I Care Because You Do, but that is, of course, how I feel personally. So, finishing up the Red Calcs bracket here, Flim wins over Pancake Lizard. That should be pretty obvious, I think. Acrodavid Jam Shred wins over Headfellium. That's also a pretty easy one. Yeah, these were all easy. Window Licker over Donkey Rhubarb, and Cliffs over Cyro. And after that, we went Flim over Acrodavid Jam Shred. Acrodavid Jam Shred is one of my favorites from I Care Because You Do, but I think I like Flim a little more. And Window Licker over Cliffs. That's another close one, because Cliffs is the one that starts you off on Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, but I went Window Licker. That is just a classic track. And I also went with Window Licker over Flim. That just has more going on, and I've just listened to it more over the years, and it's just Window Licker. Yeah. So then we are at the semifinals. We have Helios Fan, Rhubarb, Cowcut as a Twin, Window Licker. So Helios Fan versus Rhubarb, the winner was Helios Fan. I love Helios Fan, what can I say? And Window Licker won over Cowcut as a Twin. I mean, yeah, Cowcut as a Twin. Window Licker may have been a more obvious choice, and Cowcut as a Twin is kind of the out of left field one, sort of, because you don't really hear people talking about that one, and everyone and there's very few people that seem to think Window Licker is bad. That, as far as I know, I'm sure some people will turn up, but yeah, Window Licker, just more going on, the more satisfying to listen to. And if it wasn't already obvious enough, what wins everything overall was Helios Fan. Big surprise there. I mean, I kind of knew Helios Fan was going to win everything before I even started this bracket, but I figured may as well just go along with it, because it would be fun to see what my other picks would be. So, yeah, Helios Fan all the way. It was my favorite. It's my favorite Aphex Twin track, and I kind of already knew that before making this video. So yeah, that was fun. So yeah, of course, this is all just my opinion. You can feel free to disagree with it. But I'd like to hear your thoughts. So leave the comments in the comment thing down there. This was a fun little sidetrack thing for me to do. There aren't really many of these March Madness brackets that I could find for electronic music, but maybe if there's another one that looks interesting to me, I might end up doing another one of these. Who knows? This was a fun one to do. So yeah, that's all for today. See you next time.